new documents from the university and the coach's attorney.
Well, Mike and Terry, these documents tell a story about very serious claims saying that Brian Smith had secret relationships and actually drank alcohol on the job, but his attorney says that's simply not true and not fair and just plain wrong. Take a look at what we found. In the notice of intent to terminate Brian Smith's employment, the university claims that he violated his contract in multiple ways. The first, having multiple extramarital affairs, including one with an undergraduate student. This is certainly a messy fight here. As this all plays out, defensive coordinator John Hauser will serve as the interim coach for the Frisco Bowl against UNLV. Of course, the university says the search for Smith's full-time replacement will begin immediately. Reporting live in studio tonight, Rodney Dunnigan, ABC 6 News.
Man, Brian Smith is a strong Caucasian fella's name, Brian Smith. Man, so what's up with these Midwest coaches? What they got going on out there, man? But I knew Brother Smith, I was like, man, like why would he do this? But it sounds like he had all his I's dotted and his T's crossed. He was like, you know what? Hey man, I was separated. And guess what? Y'all don't have no clause, man. Hey, I can sleep with whoever I want to. As long as with a student, you know what I'm saying? Hey. So y'all out there giving false information. So what do you think about that, Coach? What do you think about what Brother Smith? Mr. Smith. Mr. Anderson.
It could be plausible deniability, for a lot of these guys in certain positions, certain persuasions, those areas, for whatever reason, a lot of that stuff does not get talked about or brought to life. And the only way and only time it does if there's a disagreement at the highest level. It could be athletic director, it could be alumni, association. It could be many different factors as to why is something like that something that is brought to light. Because a lot of times you don't want that to make your organization or your school look bad, because that's just what it does. It brings negative press to the school. And depending on the school, like if you have like Michigan, you got like Notre Dame, BYU, maybe those schools may not want that type of publicity. But like I said, it depends on the complexion or the persuasion. It seems like those are, certain factors that, are involved in a lot of the reasoning behind some of these things coming to light as they do.
Right.
So, this situation has happened and it's going to continue to happen because in a college setting, yes, you want people to not date their coworkers. You want people not to date the students. But like you said, I didn't do anything wrong. This person is, an adult. I'm an adult. We both, want to, be with each other. That's going to be the mentality of some people. Now, others may think, yeah, this is not good look for my resume, my job, my position. I want to remain in a certain light among the community, which is this university, this organization. So, yeah, I'm going to refrain from dating students. I'm going to refrain from, dating my coworkers because a lot of times those policies are in place. So those things don't happen and kind of make work relations or harassment issues. A lot of those things are in place for those types of things or reasonings. But again, who knows at the end of the day whether it should be something that should be looked at fairly or unfairly. But I just think too, based on where you're at, who you with, um, the organization, yeah, it's going to kind of skew and change, based on what one feels is good or bad, okay or not okay, you know, um, scandalous or not scandalous. It just depends on those factors, I think. I necessarily, you know, wouldn't agree with some of it, but I can understand a lot of it, you know. As of now, today, me personally, if I'm in a position and you have a student, you guys like each other, I will be like, yeah, it's not going to happen, because of this, because of that, you know, I'm in a certain position, you're in a certain position. So some things shouldn't be the way that they are because of that. So it's a crazy story, it's just one of those things. Like I say, it happens. Like we always talk about off camera, like, where were these teachers in high school, when we was going to school? It's
Right.
hey, little Danny got caught up with getting some pictures sent to him, or he got caught up, he was at detention, and his teacher was supposed to be
Right.
tutoring him, and she was tooting that thing.
Right, tutoring
Yeah, she
for
was
sure.
tutoring it,
Yeah,
not tutoring.
yeah.
It's a crazy world, boy, sometimes when you look at it.
And I'll just say this: I know that people they're gonna say, oh, why are they doing him like that? The other teacher, even like I'll just say this, and I could be objective that these two situations, even though they seem similar, and I'm not talking about the arrest and thing like that, but they're two different things. So there is usually with jobs a clause when you're working with somebody. So if this student was working with him, then they have like grounds to terminate him because of that. Um,
Mm,
the other young lady on the Michigan side, she was actually working for him, and he was her, he was her supervisor. So you're not supposed to be fraternizing with them because you have power over them. But if it's just some random coworker, I'm sorry, not random coworker, but somebody else on campus, then they probably it wouldn't be an issue. But he was fraternizing with somebody who was who reported to him. And so on the other side, other scenario, you have this coach who was sleeping with a student, apparently, I mean, allegedly, we don't know. But they said, yeah. So anyway, they were sleeping with a student allegedly. And even though morally, you're like, man, hey, the hell are you doing, bro? What are you doing, B Smith? Like what's going on? Like,
mm,
you tripping. Like
mhm,
you're 40 something and she's I guess in her 20s, maybe 18, 19, maybe 21, 22. Like, what's going on? Like, why are you doing like that? Like, morally, you like, oh, that's not right. But on the books, it's you know, it's legal. It's kind of like if in life, if you were, dating somebody that's, you know, 18 there and you were 30, like you're an adult, they're officially an adult, even though like people will frown upon it, it doesn't look right, it's legal. And
mm,
so I don't know, like, unless they get him on something else, I don't really know what grounds they would have to fire him unless there's some other clause, but it sounds like he didn't really, you know, um, break the law. Unless, like they said, they were drinking or something, like maybe they'll try to get him on that. But other than that, morally, it probably didn't look right, but they don't have it in their clause, like any clause that he signed that say like, oh, you can't date a student. I was, I knew of something like that happening where a guy was dating a student, and they were like dating. Like I'm like, it was crazy. I was like, I was kinda bothered. I'm not bothered, but I was kinda like, "Damn, you really dating this younger ass girl?" But You know,
Uh-huh.
that's what it was. You know, I was just minding my business. You know, and nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to her. Now, in that situation, actually, I think he probably could have gotten in trouble because he was like a manager level or supervisor level or somewhere in there, and she was a student worker. And I think she ended up quitting or something like that. I'm like, hey man, you must really like that dude. So, hey, yeah. So anyway, enough about that, man. We'll see what happens. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it.